Hello, everyone. Welcome to Keith and Glory.
We're Not Sorry, your new favorite podcast where two lifelong best friends bring you lighthearted banter on all things pop culture, fashion, music, and everything in between. With 30 years of friendship under our belts, we're diving into hot topics, real life stories, and playful debates. And we want to bring you along for the ride. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being back. We have had a tremendous week.
Episode 9 of Keith and Glory, We're Not Sorry. We are excited that everybody came back and listening. If you are listening to the beginning of this episode, please click download, like, and subscribe. We appreciate
Please.
all the love.
I think people get confused because I was like, are you downloading? Make sure you download and not just listen because it makes a difference. And we really appreciate it. And it's all about the downloads.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so this was an exciting week, Glory, for you.
Well, for us, I feel like.
Yes, of course. But
Yeah.
there was a huge article out in celebritynews.com titled, let me put on my readers here, Breaking Barriers and Embracing Authenticity, the journey behind In Pursuit of Glory, the upcoming memoir by Glory Jewett, and Keith and Glory, We're Not Sorry, our podcast in
Woo!
celebrity news.
We made it in celebrity news. 7 episodes in. I mean, how can you not love that?
Okay, the article was amazing, but one, I want to talk about the photos. The pictures in it, I haven't seen those before. I love that one of you with your hair different in the black outfit, but this is a new one. I loved it.
Yeah, photographer was Isaac Matthews, huge shout out to him, and there
Glory's
was
little brother.
so many amazing ones. There was amazing.
Did
Like,
Isaac shoot the cover of your book too?
he did.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
he
Okay.
did,
Yeah,
and
all
it's so
great
good.
shots.
So good. Yeah,
And
so good.
okay, but the article, okay, sorry, now that we got the pictures out of the way, the article loved how it was, of course, touching upon, yes, you're this powerhouse woman in the tech industry, whatever, but it was more about still being yourself in like male dominated industries in such. Well, I mean, I don't know. I just picture you in like these boardrooms and like, everything and like,
So when they
yeah.
interviewed me for the article, the premise behind it was really about a lot of it is about having the courage and being vulnerable enough to put myself out there in different spaces. One being my book and one being with the podcast. So you are listening to me. I am being a total different version of myself publicly than I am during my day. And that's okay, and and the point of the whole article for me was a bit of it was being authentic self at work. I've said this before, my authenticity has helped me thrive in my career, and it actually made me unique and made me, get noticed in a different way, and I hid that for a long time. It took me a while to get that, but I actually hope this
So
year.
sorry, explain that a little more. Like, what do you mean by that?
So, I mean, I was in the field. I was in a male-dominated industry. I hid my femininity. I was like once I really wanted to be serious in my career, I didn't wanna be looked at like this young girl, piece of meat, whatever, right? And
Mhm.
so I really was trying to hide and fit in with the good old boys. I was swearing like a sailor. I was hanging out in the smoke, all the things to
Yeah.
try and just fit in with
But
the
I think
leadership.
that's one of your great character traits that you can really blend in and be accepted in kind of any and every crowd.
You can, but the point of it is you don't shouldn't have to. And so once I started really becoming myself and authentically myself, I was still in a boardroom with a lot of men, older men. Um, but I'd show up in my pink suit. I'd show up in my high heels. I put on my pink lipstick and it set me apart. I still had a voice. I got my confidence, but it was my authentic self that made me unique and made me memorable. And so coming out with this podcast and the book even is super, super vulnerable for me. It's something I've been really talking about for a long time.
Mhm.
But um, I think the point of the whole article was, and I hope maybe it inspires anyone to just be your authentic self, and you're allowed to have passion projects. You're allowed to like fashion. You're allowed to like reality TV. and you can still be in a male-dominated industry or whatever industry and do a really, really good job at that, and I know I do well at my day job. So it's about breaking those barriers and those perceptions and those bias and being authentically you and having the courage to do all your passion projects. So, anyway, we'll talk more about it when the book actually comes out, but it was a
Yeah,
cool
coming
article.
soon.
It's coming soon. I love the spin on this one because it did feel a lot more personal, and it made me
Yeah.
feel a little bit more vulnerable, to be honest.
Yeah, and yeah, I just think it's great and inspiring, and, they said that, I saw this TikTok with Oprah and Gail, and they said, "How did they remain best friends all those years?" And Oprah said, "Well, she was more proud of me than she was jealous of me." And that's kind of how I feel about you. Like, with your
Oh,
career and stuff, I'm so proud of you. I always post these things. I always like to because I don't think it could have happened to a better person. I think you deserve
mm.
everything you've got. But I'm still a little jealous. I wouldn't mind to be cruising in a golf cart in your backyard in Peachtree City, but my pride overshadows, of course, any jealousy.
Yeah, I love that, and I think you surround yourself with your tribe, right? And I feel the same about all of my friends. I'm nothing but happiness and pride and, joy for them with all of their successes, and that's what you need. I do not to go back to the book because I really wanna do another episode on that, but women can cut each other down very, very easily, and, even friends can cut each other down out of that jealousy, and it's about lifting each other up and
Mhm.
finding the people that are really supportive and happy for you. So, anyway, the
Yeah,
article was
and I think
cool.
you're great at that with your female friends, male friends, everybody. I know I've seen you, help a lot of people out, and I think that's very admirable, so
Yeah, I mean, what goes around comes around.
blah, blah, blah,
That's
you're
another thing.
such a good person, okay.
Blah, blah, blah. Enough about Glory. But the article was cool. Keith and Glory was featured. And yeah, next we'll move
Like,
on.
of course, I'm sure I wrote in my diary at some point that I was gonna be on celebritynews.com, but
Here you
never
go. Here you
never in
go.
my adult life
Foreshadowing.
did
Yeah,
I actually expect it.
I love it.
So exciting, thank you.
Okay, so we have a really cool show today. Well, I hope it's a cool show. We're going to do a bit of a like over 40 and then an under 40 segment.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to keep it really light today. I want to ditch the diapers and embrace the dapper or daring when over 40. So that's going to be the theme of the show. But then we also have my daughter has actually created some ask us anything questions at the end of this, which I'm really nervous about because she won't let me read them. So let's see how that goes. Um, but yeah, a lot of readers have had or listeners have been asking about more fashion tips and more like recommendations, which I love because
All our comments,
I
so
know.
anything that Glory mentions today will be linked underneath in the episode because everybody I've talked to, like, I mean, is like, "Oh my god, I bought the hair shiny thing, I bought the deodorant, I bought this." Like, I
I
think it's a
really
great
need to
little
be
thing.
spoiled. It's a great little thing. It's my favorite things. So we're gonna do a bit of a favorite thing, and then we're gonna talk about like what we should be wearing over 40 and what we should not be wearing over 40. So I'd like to get
Okay,
into
love.
that. Yeah, and then I know you have a few things you wanted to talk about.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into it.
Should we start with what not to wear over 40?
Yes.
Diaper to dapper, let's go. Okay, so here's a few things, a few faux pas or a few tips and tricks over 40 when you're thinking about fashion in general. First of all, I know a lot of women that automatically go to all black. Don't get me wrong, I love a good black moment with a pop of something, like a gold earring or a nice bag, but make sure the textures are different and it's not a full black ensemble. I think women, as they get older, tend to go for a more chromatic look. It can draw the color out of your face. So just make sure you're mixing up the textures in your outfit. Black,
So
too
what do
much
you mean,
black.
like suede and
Maybe like a black cotton top and leather pants or something. Like make
mm,
sure it's like mix it up or jean and whatever. But don't, keep it different. Um I
like, I
love
do picture the typical yoga, all black Lululemon, and I get
I
what you
think
mean.
that's different. I think yoga is I mean, I like a matching set when I do yoga personally, but you
Yep.
don't have to. But just be careful with the black because I think women can get into all black and it just as sort of kind of like hiding, right?
Men too. I
Um,
love a good black sweater on a Monday when I've eaten too much on a
yeah, well,
Sunday.
change out your bottoms. Cheap fabrics. So I think as you see women getting older, they get into these cheap fabrics. They can be floral, they can be whatever, I don't know, kind of florally, whatever. Steer clear of you guys, this is screaming we're getting over the hill and steer away from a cheap kind of a fabrically flowy top. I think there's a way to do a flowy top that's pretty, but just make sure you're staying away from cheap fabrics. Poor undergarments. So be careful what you're wearing underneath your attire. Shapewear is a huge thing. Kim Kardashian's making billions off of that. It's a thing. She openly says she does it on most of what she wears. There's a reason her body looks very shapely. Don't be too proud to go get shapewear. Just be careful about what you wear underneath your clothing because it can add extra, rolls or air lines or whatever that you don't need underneath your garments. I think there's a whole balance when you dress. So if you're going with a bigger top or a flowier top, go with a skinnier pant or a more form-fitting bottom and vice versa. So if I'm doing something really kind of sleek on top, I'll do maybe a wider leg or kind of a bigger bottom. You don't want to be that whole all the way down. So try to balance. That's a huge thing. The wrong accessories. So I'm all about an accessory. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
Over accessory can be really tacky. So just be careful on typically my rule of thumb, and you can do both, but if it's like a special dress up occasion, but big earring, don't do a necklace. If you didn't do a nice necklace, stay to a smaller earring. Like try to not do too much because it can come across cheap and tacky.
What does Coco Chanel say? Like, before you leave the house, take 2 things off or
You
something?
can overdo it, right? And I've seen a lot of them that they look really dressed up, but it starts to look cheap. Yeah.
Like
Um,
Dorit on the new Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, where it's just Chanel, 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 gloves,
But
gloves,
I
gloves.
love that because I actually love that look. So
Oh, okay.
she's actually gone yeah, but that's a moment, right? That's not a everyday you're going to
Right.
dinner. She's looking at that's a whole
That's an
someone who
interview
styled her.
confessional look, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Um, how about shoes? So we see a lot of men and women getting after 40 to these frumpy big shoes, sandals, the sandals with the Velcro, the
Birkenstocks.
I actually love there's a time and a moment for a Birkenstock if it's in a fashion like a casual outfit, I'm okay, but not it's like the rubbery, big, clunky
Ooh.
shoe. Don't do it. Just
Eh,
don't give up. Don't give up. There's fashion forward, comfortable shoes you can do. Get a pair of white sneaks. Go, get it doesn't matter. Don't do the ugly, bulky shoe. Do you know what I mean? You
yeah,
know what I mean. Yeah,
I
okay.
have a few, so I'm just reconsidering.
I know,
I
and by the
love
way,
those, like,
this
big
is
pop
not
kinda sandals.
I am not judging anyone on this, and do you, but here's just my own personal view. A good bag, you've heard me talk about, and Eric makes fun of the way I said bag, a bag.
Mug.
A bag, a good bag will accessorize any outfit, so you can spend less on your clothes if you have a good invest in one really nice kind of designer bag and or like upper scale doesn't have to be Coco Chanel, but something a little nicer of a statement piece. And you can dress down in a little like, a less expensive outfit, but at least it pops your outfit.
So would you say on your ratio of bag ownership, do you own more everyday bags or more kind of moment bags?
I think you know the answer to this, but
No.
I prefer oh, you don't? Own more moment bags. Like, even
Okay.
my day bag for work is like a big Fendi briefcase, but that
Right.
doesn't mean anyone whatever your price point is, you don't have to go to a designer. My point is just try to accessorize and get some invest I would invest more in that. There's Coach is a more affordable option. There's Tory Burch is a more affordable option. There's affordable options that you don't have to go right to
And
a
there's
Fendi.
dupes everywhere.
And there's dupes everywhere. Go to Asia, they're everywhere. Okay, so another really easy fashion statement that anybody can do over 40 and or anyone who actually needs glasses like I do and I hate to admit it, but here we are. My eyesight is deteriorating by the day, I feel like. There are so many really really cool fashion forward frames out there. You don't have to get them from your eye doctor. There's a lot of online options that are actually affordable, and you buy the frame and bring them into your eye doctor, and they can put your prescription in them. So, really pro tip if you want to save a little bit of money, they don't have to be designer. People don't know. There is a lot of designer glasses, but I don't know, like I don't find the frames in my personal eye doctor here that amazing for me. So I look elsewhere. The other places that you can look if you're looking for a designer frame at a fraction of the cost is like Saks off Fifth Avenue or like some of like Nordstrom Rack. Sometimes you'll go in and they'll have like discounted eyeglass frames. Same thing, you buy the frame and you take them to your eye doctor, and then they'll fill the lens. So, a couple
So
pro tips.
my question is buying online frames. Well, how do you do that without trying them on?
So it's you, first of all, they have a really good return policy, so you can send them back. But secondly, they do have an AI or like an app where you can upload
Mm,
your selfie and like kind of see what they look like.
yep.
I don't know, like I just kind of can tell what I like,
And I
but
guess people know if they're looking for round, square, whatever.
right. It
Yeah.
is nice to try them on, but they always usually have like a 90-day return anyway. So yeah, I mean, that's something I've found helpful.
Well, I never thought that I would be a glasses wearer. And 41, I just thought maybe I had a few too many glasses of wine at night. Why is my phone so blurry?
Yeah. I know. Why is my
And and then suddenly I put on glasses. Now, I think a lot of people, it's hard to take that transition from cheaters to progressives. And I think you need to.
Yeah, do yourself a favor. I've read emails I've written and I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like like spelling mistakes that I never saw. Like I'm starting to notice it, right? Like, "Hey, Glory, get over it. Start wearing the glasses and
And you
just
can
do."
tell when somebody pulls out some Dollarama cheaters out of their purse.
Yeah, you don't my point is you don't have to spend a fortune there, but don't like get like push yourself to get something a little more fashion forward. Yeah? Okay. It's part of your look.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that was all my fashion tips for now. I do
Go
have
ahead.
some makeup tips if we wanna get into
Let's
that.
get into it because soon I'll be starting my new skincare routine, and who knows where it takes me from there.
Well, that's a really nice segment, Keith, because the first tip, pro tip, which we already talked about, and I won't get into it too much detail, it's all about your skincare. Number one, 100% hydrate your skin. Our skin is drying out. We're losing collagen. Like you have to hydrate and get a good skin routine. And it doesn't have to be super expensive. There's some affordable skincare routines out there. We're going to try this one that's actually higher end as soon as we get it. But uh,
Jan Marini, thank you, Restore,
yeah, thank you, Restore.
Peachtree City.
So for women, when you are done your skincare, make sure you hydrate your skin. So make sure you use a good moisturizer. Primer is a really good thing for our aging skin because it helps seal your pores or wrinkles or like kind of. it- I love that you look so interested, Keith, and I can
I
tell.
am. I'm like,
Are you
I'm
okay?
thinking of I'm like primer. I'm comparing it to paint. I'm such a dude.
It's
Just
kind of,
kidding. But I'm like,
it's just like paint.
okay.
It's wall paint for your face, okay? So
Yeah.
a little bit of a primer. We talked about sunscreen and the glow screen that I talked about the first few episodes ago
Mhm.
can actually be used too. You can use that as a primer. The matte screen I sometimes just use as a primer so you don't have so many layers on your face. So, but basically it just smooths out the pores underneath. But don't forget your sunscreen. I'm a huge thing of that. Lightweight foundation. Listen, ladies, the full coverage foundation has to go. I talked about that a few episodes ago. Get over the full coverage. We are older. It should be sheer. It should be less. Less is more as we get older.
Okay. Well, speaking of, episode or two ago, I was talking about my shine. If people, if people can't notice, it's gone today, and you might be wondering why. Let me just tell you that I refuse to be shiny anymore. So I
Good for
went
you.
and picked up a little, I don't know what is this
What
called?
he's holding in his hand is a powder, and he's even got the applicator brush. Who helped you with that? The girl at the
This
store?
little cute girl at Sephora,
Oh my God.
because I was like, so I heard I have to come here. I was like, I'm under a ring light. No, sorry. I'm revealing secrets now. I'm under a ring light and I'm like, and I hear it has to match my complexion. So she took me around to a few different things, and then we were looking at, like, I don't know, she was showing me colors and, like, putting it on her hand.
Yeah.
So I was
Well,
like,
it's
"This
gotta be
is
on your
color."
hand, or you're
Yeah,
like,
so I
she
put
should
it
do it on
on
your
my
jawline.
hand, so what
Yeah.
does that do? I was like, "Is that my hand the same color as my face? I don't think so."
No, it
Is
should
it?
she should do it on your, like, actual jaw.
Okay, well, she didn't, but she was so sweet and so nice. So I was like, okay. And I was like, well, I would rather look a little more tanned than anything. So she gave me this kind, brought me over to the brushes, told me to get this brush. I went up to the counter, $80. I was like, well, let me hold on to this receipt just in case I'm still shining. And I don't think I am I?
No, actually, I think you
Maybe
look
a little
much better.
reset.
You look did she show you how to, like, put it on? Because you look like a pro.
No,
For all of you YouTube listeners, Keith is actually putting on blush or powder right now. I mean,
translucent is what you said, maybe with a little bit of brown. So if everyone's wondering where I went for spring break,
you know what, Keith? You're gonna do the makeup episode next time. Like, I think you're on your way. Okay, well, I haven't even gotten to powder, but actually it is a very nice segment, and I promise we didn't practice this, into like powder versus cream. So when you're doing, I think older, as we get older, we lose color in our face. So a little bit of a blush and a contour goes a long way. I actually find that a cream contour over a powder contour, unless you're trying to get away shine, which Keith is doing, sets into our old aging skin a little bit better. So I would recommend more of a cream application over a powder
so the
application.
cream is when like the girls would take that like thing and go and put it all over their face and rub it in.
No, it's like remember the matte stick I was talking about a few episodes ago, the Mario matte
Oh yeah, yeah.
so it's more of a cream blend than
Oh,
a
sorry, it's a
powder.
contour stick to make those
Well,
lines.
it doesn't have to be a stick, but just it's a creamier base than a
Okay.
powder base. For your eyes, listen, ladies over 40, and I
Mhm.
still see some ladies in my local area who are doing this. I will not call anybody out. Stop with the really heavy under eyeliner. It ages you a bazillion years. So an op top eyeline is good. You can still do a little bit of a softer eyeliner if you like that look, but there's the heavy, really heavy penciled black eyeliner underneath. It ages you 20 years. Stop today. Don't do it. It's not a good look. Softer under your eye is going to make you feel or look a lot younger. So, just a pro tip there.
Sorry, can
Eyebrows.
I say another thing about eyes that I can't stand?
Yeah.
Is these girls that have these long spider lashes that just like bat, bat, bat. Like, is that in style?
No. Well,
No.
it depends on
Okay.
who you ask. Depends on who you ask.
I mean, I
I
guess so, yeah,
personally
but
don't. Yeah. I'm going to get to eye. So, yeah. So, eyelashes, I think, will always be in style, but I think there's a limit to the length personally, but I don't want to offend anyone. I mean, people have their own personal
we don't
style.
want to eyelash shame. We know I cut mine, so we
Yeah.
do not want to eyelash shame.
Thank God they grew back. Um, but I do want to talk about eyebrows. And I actually want to show, these are my favorite products this week. I wanted to talk about eyebrows and
Okay.
why I love these eyebrow products and why they're so important. The eyebrows are the most important feature on your face.
Oh.
They they can determine your whole look. So any makeup art when you
Mm.
read anything about makeup or artistry, any of that, your eyebrows are super, super important. Remember back in the day in the eight and they kind of defined an era, right? Like remember the Drew Barrymore
Yeah,
pencil thin. I wish I had
totally.
never plucked mine out so thin because they never grew back as bushy as I would love them to. So
Like
now I have to
everybody
color them
our
in.
age. Yeah.
Right, yeah, that was a whole era. Right now, a bushy, fluffy eyebrow is back in style. You
Mm.
want the arch, you want definition. It really opens up your face. It kind of almost gives you an immediate lift. So, I've got 2 products today I wanna talk about. First of
Okay.
all
Both will be linked below, everybody.
First of all, it's the Fluff Up Brow Wax by Benefit, and it comes in a little applicator, and it almost looks like a mascara wand, and you can actually fluff. Like for me, I have very thin eyebrows, and I have to color them in and pencil them in. But if you push this up with it's almost like like a clear mascara for your eyebrows, so you can shape that. You push your eyebrow hair in a way that kind of gives you a bit more volume, and it almost gives it a little bit more like texture.
Because
Number
there are
one.
a lot of girls out there, maybe I'm wrong, that actually don't have eyebrows and have either tattooed or draw them in all the time.
Yeah,
Is tattooing
microblading
a
is a
thing?
huge thing to get
Okay.
the shape. So tattooing, I think, is a little bit out. I think microblading is probably a little more in, but there's procedures now. Like you have people like getting like eyebrow
Implants like
implants.
your hair, yeah.
Yeah, so you actually grow a thicker so that they can
So
get the
big
arch.
and bushy is in.
Big and bushy is in that really kind of like dewy, clean look is really in with a real kind of bushy eyebrow,
Okay. I'm
like think
picturing
of
like
like
Kaya Gerber.
Kaya Gerber, think of Hailey Bieber, like kind of that look
Yeah,
where
yeah.
yeah. So that's my first product for eyebrows to start to get the shape. The second one is you need to fill them in. So my second one is the Brow Definer Pencil by Anastasia. Okay. It comes
Anastasia Beverly Hills.
She is friends with all the Beverly Hills girls. But this one is just it lasts a long time. You do spend a little bit more on it, but it comes on a real nice beveled edge, and you can kind of make, your eyebrow shape the
So
way you want it.
now I've seen people draw on their eyebrows and have chosen the completely wrong color. How would you suggest them to match? Like, because there are some really hot blondes with brown eyebrows that look
Yeah, I
great.
think it should be similar or a little bit darker than your hair color. But equally, you see some of these like really fashion forward Vogue magazines where they're bleaching their eyebrows. So
Mhm.
this which totally contradicts what I just said. But I do think definition on your eyebrows, it shapes your face.
Yeah,
Um,
and I don't think normal, like, everyday working people are bleaching their eyebrows. I think that's like
no,
Julia Fox and Amelia Gray.
and maybe Kim Kardashian for a Vogue shoot. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, so those are the faces. I think lip liner, and I've started this new thing that I've just tried, and I'm gonna give it a few more tries in a few different products before I give a recommendation, but lip blushing, it's called. I don't know if you've seen that. It's kind of where
Mm.
you put like a purple lip stain on your lip, and it tints your lip naturally. So all day you kind of have like this natural lip
Mm.
tint. So if you're out on a boat or if you don't want to wear a heavy lipstick, it gives you that sort of natural, you can put a little bit of gloss on it and it's a stain, but it's not a heavy lip look, but you still have the color in your lips.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
I am glad that the huge lip fillers are becoming a thing of the past.
agreed.
Like, I think it ages somebody. Your lips are too big, you look old.
Yeah, and it just looks too fake, right? Like I think there's a limit. We talked about it before. There's a limit to everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are my tips and tricks for this week. Natural is sort of in, embrace that dewy, glowy kind of look because that will basically make you look a few years younger and lay off the heavy powder, lay off the heavy concealer, lay off the heavy
So
um
basically, it's the same thing. You wanna get ready for 2 hours to look just dewy and like you didn't really get ready at all.
pretty much. Pretty
Okay,
much.
effortlessly easy, okay.
Effortlessly easy. Yeah. Okay.
That's awesome. I think your, picks are something that a lot of people appreciate, as we said at the beginning of the episode. So, yeah, cheers to your tips of the week, Lori.
Thank you. Cheers.
So, one thing that's kind of new that I was excited about this week that started was the Denise Richards and her Wild Things show.
Okay, yeah, I was excited to watch it. I
See, I
was a
wasn't.
little underwhelmed.
Okay, see, I went in with low expectations, which is the best way to do most things in life because you're
Agreed.
always happily surprised.
Okay.
So
What did you think?
I kind of like it. It's half hour. It's kind of like a comedy, but I like her daughters with Charlie Sheen are so opposite.
Different. They're so different.
So they have the older one, Sammy, who's like on the show, like getting a nose job, like breast augmentation. She's an OnlyFans model, like a big raver, I think. She's like partying. Then there's the little one, Lola Sheen, who's 18, I think, but looks like Marsha Brady. Now, maybe that's aging me. I didn't actually watch the Brady Bunch, but you know what I mean? The girl that got hit in the face with the football?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. She just looks more wholesome, I would probably
And
say it, yeah.
she is, which is, I guess, the only way to rebel if you're Charlie Sheen's daughter, is, like, huge into her faith.
Yeah,
She just and is so open about it, which is refreshing. I kind of appreciate
I
that, and I
agree.
think she's so sweet and so nice, and it's just so funny that Charlie Sheen's daughter has now rebelled by finding Jesus, like but
I know.
the show's really fun. Of course, Denise and her daughter are both on OnlyFans, and I think Denise did it to make her daughter feel better about it, but,
Which is
um
so like, it's ridiculous. It's
well,
ridiculous. She went
it
on it to make money, like, let's be real. She
right.
watched how much money her daughter was making and, you
And if
know
you see the family dynamic, like, it's called Denise Richard and Her Wild Things Brother, like, one episode, they brought, like, Charlie Sheen's ex-wife, Brooke Mueller, because she dropped off this 19-foot iguana at Denise's house when she was going to rehab to watch, and then the iguana passed, so they had to plan a memorial service for it. Like, it is just craziness. Craziness.
yeah, I don't know that they'll get a few seasons. I thought it was a little wah-wah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Um,
personally. I mean,
now
it's entertaining because it's Denise Richards, I guess. I liked her better on Beverly Hills.
I didn't like her on Beverly Hills,
Mm.
because going back to, of course, we should really call our podcast our authentic selves. But I didn't feel Denise was her authentic self on Beverly Hills. She
Why?
came across at first like a prude. Like, remember getting mad at Erica for talking about like threesomes in front of her daughters, and then she was like, kind of put it out there and then would bring everything back. And she was more concerned about her image, I found, than being her authentic self.
I don't know. Okay.
So we did a bunch of fashion tips for over 40s, but I just thought because our listeners are all over the place, I thought we would have just talk about a little bit of every generation, maybe not fashion tips, but we'll touch upon each generation and maybe some like gossip that they're into. And just it's kind of funny to see the different generations and like
I love
where
it.
they are. So we started with the baby boomers. Those are people born 1946 to 1964. Of course, these are the people born after World War II. They experienced like the economic boom, major cultural shifts in the 60s and 70s. I always say these boomers are the only people that are posting messages to their friends on their own Facebook wall. Like you'll see your parent be like, "Thanks for asking. Oh, Johnny's doing well." Like and it's on their own wall.
Yeah.
I also think the boomers are keeping the newspaper and flyers in print.
Mhm.
Like, and also, and maybe I'm just talking about my parents in general, but keeping the Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, Chicago Hospital, Chicago FBI, Chicago SWAT, like all those shows in are still on the air. And it's so funny because I'll be popping up and being with my parents. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, Angela Bassett. And like, anyway, I seeing all these actors, I was like, this is where the movie stars of the 90s have
Go
gone
to
wild.
die?
I'm like,
Yeah.
FBI and SWAT.
That's funny.
It's so funny. Now for our boomers, some exciting news that I love to share is that Meryl Streep and Martin Short are a couple. They publicly debuted themselves at the 50 SNL thing, but they've been speculated about for months and months.
Like, what an odd couple.
Do you think? I think they're
Yes.
so cute. Like, I love Martin Short, like, shout out Canada. And he's like, he is so funny.
I think they're both great, but I cannot that is like I would never have pictured that.
They're sitting together anyway at the 50 SNL, and the camera pans to Meryl Streep, and she throws up the middle finger, and I was just you just kind of I don't know, I
She's
just love that.
iconic. She's iconic. Okay.
Icon.
What's the
Ne
next?
Next generation, of course, the best generation is Generation X.
Hmm.
grew up during economic uncertainty. That we are the kids who came from like come home when the street lights come on. You are out. Your parents had no idea you were. There was no find my iPhone, find my location. There
Right.
was not even cell phones. You would lie and say you were at some friend's house and they wouldn't know because they couldn't really call. Like,
And boy, did we ever.
oh my God. And it's so funny. And I think we had no tech till our late teens, I think. Right?
Yeah, like, I remember my first flip phone, my boyfriend bought it for me. It was like one of it was a small one, but it was a flip. Yeah.
That's right, you put the nose up. Oh my God, so funny. And so I find like that era is all like kind of reality bites, like Kurt and Courtney, MSN Messenger, like kind of had all of that. And I find men, straight guys that grew up during that era, and maybe straight guys in general, kind of dress the same as what was in when the last time they cared about fashion, right? Like when they were with their
That's
wife.
not true. That's not true. If until they got
Maybe it's a
married and
generalization.
yeah, that's a generalization. I think
But
certain men have stayed
there are a
there.
lot of men that grew up in the 90s that are still rocking that t-shirt and like the long sleeve underneath it, you know? Do you
And
remember
they've
that
gone to
look?
those chunky sandals. Don't do it.
But so some gossip, of course, I think for people our age, Gen X, is of course the White Lotus is going on. And we just had one of the most iconic scenes that Mike White wrote between Sam Rockwell and Walter Goggins. Did you watch that?
What episode is that one? I don't know.
It's just the most recent one. I'm not gonna say
No,
any
I'm not caught
spoilers.
up. I'm not caught up.
Actors are coming and they're all just saying like that is an iconic scene. It's like jaw dropping and interesting. Sam Rockwell, who's like, of course, a famous actor, his wife, Leslie Bibb, is the girl with the short blonde hair, super tall and skinny, one of the
Mhm,
three
mhm.
girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, yeah, I'm not there yet. It's good though this season. I'm into it. I think we're only
It's
like
good.
2.5 seasons in because we keep falling asleep.
Well, because yeah, I get it. It's like late Sunday night when it comes on, and yeah, but it is good. And the millennials are next. This is the first generation that grew up with the internet. They saw the digital revolution and everything come through. I find these are the people that were kind of grew up on One Tree Hill and WB shows, Gossip Girl, all those
Yeah.
kind of shows. And they're big rewatchers. They still rewatch all those shows. And I'm generalizing millennials here. I might just be thinking of certain girls from my work who I love. But and they're really good at like technology, Canva, iMovies, Bitmojis, you know, that whole generation.
Can we talk about, like, speaking of Gossip Girl, I know not to disrupt your flow.
No, I think you're going right into the gossip for the millennials,
Okay.
which is
Okay,
what?
let's do it. Yep. Go.
Justin Baldoni and
Oh my gosh, this whole thing has taken a whole flip, right?
I'm
What do you think? We have
I
to talk about it.
I have not been following as hard as everybody else. I do enjoy kind of like watching her in like these bitchy interviews and stuff, but I'm like, okay, well, she's not the nicest person. But do tell me, kind of like
So what
educate.
I've heard, and, like, I'm not like this I do not have this pulled up, but, like, so they went in hard. Ryan and Blake went in hard with this lawsuit, sexual harassment, da da da. When they went to go look at the receipts, she was claiming like he was showing her pornography, and it was they were trying to. He was trying to. What they showed was one of his friends like giving birth, but it was no like nothing nudity. It was nothing like inappropriate. It was like to show her like an idea for the scene, and they were like, "This isn't pornography, like all the things that she's been claiming. And look, I'm I want to be a female if she felt uncomfortable, whatever, I want to be there to support. But the reality is all the things that she's kind of like claiming, there's no evidence or receipts for. And so it's kind of flipping. And to where Ryan Reynolds, I read, and again, this is TMZ, so take it with a grain of salt, is wanting to retract. And like, if I was that Justin, I'd be like, hell no, you've just ruined my reputation. I'm not pulling back. Like,
Yeah.
You
And I
owe
heard
me.
Taylor Swift was involved somehow,
Somehow she there yeah, somehow she's involved, and I think those
and
2
now
are not
she's
friends.
distanced herself, yeah.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
did see some, like, when he was claiming it, I did see some video of in between takes, and they're dancing on some rooftop, and it's quite intimate. And, like, she was
Well,
kind of not looking uncomfortable, and it wasn't
so
during an acting scene, it was, like, in between takes.
so I've listened to some, like, podcasts about this, and the theory is, like, she felt like she was the big actress in the scene, he was the director also, right? So,
Mhm.
the theory is, and again, I don't know one way or the other, so don't, claim me on any of this, but that she felt, like, "I should be calling the shots, how dare you, da da da, like, I'm the bigger movie star here, da 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 da," and so, yeah, like, maybe her ego got bruised going home. I don't know if Ryan Reynolds was like, "What's going," I don't know. There's a whole thing, but I'm
Right.
kind of where I was like Team Blake. Show me the
She has been
receipts.
she has been called out on multiple things. I saw an episode of Watch
She
What Happens
has.
Live with Army Hammer, who's not a great guy either. Or maybe he is, whatever. But, him and Chelsea Handler on Watch What Happens Live, and he said he had to quit Gossip, or he got had to leave Gossip Girl early because of, um, tension with another star that it was believed to be, of course, Blake Lively, and all this Blake Lively stuff is
She's
coming in.
apparently difficult to work with, like, it's kind of a thing with her, right? And
As I
so
told you, I think in a previous episode, I'm not a huge Ryan Reynolds fan. I'm sorry, like Canada. I think he's kind of geeky, and I'm glad if they are awful people, they're being called out. But
the
if
thing with Ryan Reynolds, he's gonna go on and do, like, all the films,
Deadpool
the
9,
Deadpool he'll do, 9, 10, 11, 12, and his fans won't care about this, and so I don't think it'll affect his career really, but
but her fans, these millennials,
this will matter, and I think she has to own it if she is like, what if she was over embellishing or doing whatever, like, I feel like she needs to come to the plate and be like, "You know what? I felt a certain way. I own it. I'm sorry." Like,
because
or
I
like
think it's
people
bigger
are
than
gonna
just
be,
being a bitch.
I think so. Like, I think this could
Mhm.
really hurt her, and I thought him, but it might not. Like, show the receipt. I mean, it's gonna play out, but like,
Yeah.
I
Okay, stay tuned.
stay
You
tuned.
and all you millennials. The last, of course, generation is Generation Alpha, born 2013 onward, the first generation to be fully immersed in technology. Interesting about this generation is that attention spans, the most, well, before TikTok, the most popular videos on YouTube were, of course, 30 seconds because they need that instant,
Yeah.
instant, instant. And of course, we had representation. We're going to have representation of that generation at the end of this episode with
Yes.
our special guest Ella Berry for Ask Us Anything. But just to give you some gossip at this area, something that my TikTok has been full with, which I might be embarrassed to say, but whatever, is the drama between Bad Baby and Alabama Barker. Do you
I
know who
mean, see,
either
I'm
of
not,
them are?
I do know who Alabama Barker is because she's
Okay, so
Travis Barker's.
Bad Baby was originally, when she was 14 or some age, she was on Dr. Phil, and she was the girl, "Catch me outside, how about that?" You know
Oh,
that
and that's how
girl?
she became famous?
So, she became famous years ago, but then she had a few rap songs or whatever, and then she turned 18, joined OnlyFans, and made
Oh.
$58 million dollars or something in her first month.
This OnlyFans, like, I cannot, these people, like, oh my gosh, it's
So
incredible.
she came from, like, a troubled youth and poverty and stuff. Now is super rich. Like, obviously, Alabama Barker is, of course, Travis Barker and Shannon Moakler's
Yep.
daughter. You may have seen her in Meet the Barkers as a baby, like a long time ago, but now she's this like blonde girl that just gets ready in her room all day in TikTok and raps. So these girls came up with diss tracks against each other, and it's like, I'm even embarrassed to be talking about it, but this is just for our Gen Alpha crowds and probably some Gen Zs as well. But it's just funny because, I mean, I don't know. I find myself humming along to these jerks, plaques on plaques on plaques, just like Soldier
Yeah,
Boys too.
you would. You probably still love it. I'm not in, but I am going Friday night to Tyler, the Creator, and I'm
Oh, that's this
taking
Friday.
it's Friday, yeah, I'm taking my stepson and one of his friends and my daughter, so that will be
Okay. You
interesting.
need to FaceTime me. I'm obsessed with this song right now. Tyler, the Creator, did a remix to Kendrick Lamar's Hey Now,
Okay,
and it's called That Guy.
okay, I'll
And
FaceTime you.
when he plays at the concert, they go crazy. It's on my TikTok. Maybe I'm a 15-year-old according to my
Trapped in a
TikTok
45-year-old body.
algorithm.
Yeah.
Bad baby and Tyler, the Creator. Like, God, I guess I should switch my algorithm up.
Mm. Anyway, for our Ask Us Anything, this is a really nice segment. We did invite my beautiful daughter in to ask us questions that she has prepared herself. And can I go on record to say, I have no idea what these are, and I'm a little worried.
And if you haven't had the pleasure of meeting the lovely Ella Berry, she is her mother's daughter. She's a spark to be reckoned with. She's one of the most
She,
little fun little girls I know. She's a spitfire. She's gorgeous. She's talented. She's musical. She's an animal activist. She's
I
just
mean,
a great kid.
this kid I've not been able to dress since she was 3 years old. So she beats to her own drum, and I love it. And I let her embrace her authenticity. There's another time we've said it.
Bam,
And
authentic.
yeah, and I think it's important. And yeah, she's coming up next. So here we go.
Today, in Ask Us Anything, we have a very special guest
We
joining
do.
us.
We do.
The talented, the beautiful, the incomparable Ella Berry, Glory's daughter. Hi, Ella.
Hey guys. Uh thank you, Keith. I'm the big Sigma everyone's talking about, the newest hit. Um Today we're going to be as Keith said, I'm going to be asking Keith and Glory, we're not sorry, some questions today.
And can I just
Okay,
preface, we have not seen these questions,
I
and
know
I'm
I'm
very, very
nervous.
nervous about this right now.
Okay, guys. Are y'all ready to start?
We're ready to start.
Okay. So what I just want to know, like I've heard some podcasts, I've seen them. So what's your drink of choice today?
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm a good mom
Well,
or a horrible mom about
actually,
that.
today I'm drinking a Dirty Doctor, some vodka and Dr. Pepper,
Okay.
zero sugar.
And I'm doing a red wine and Cabernet.
And I'm doing air. Thanks for asking. Okay.
What
So
is your favorite drink, though, Ella? Like,
it's literally like Diet Coke. It's like I cannot
Oh,
survive without it.
Diet
yeah.
Coke versus Diet Pepsi.
Well,
I
she's in
hope.
Georgia. I'll give her the pass.
Yeah, okay.
Remember, we were at the Coca-Cola Museum?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm wearing my pants right now.
Oh, you
Okay, let's start. Okay. So these are my questions from Ella, obviously. So number 1. Okay, Keith, what is your favorite Gen Z word and why?
my favorite, I have a lot of least favorite Gen Z
I
words,
agree.
but I would say probably like I love saying Gen Z words because it makes my students cringe. So whenever I think they're not telling the truth, I'm like, cap? That's cap. That's cap. I like saying that to the kids. So
Okay.
probably cap. That means you're lying. Not you're lying. I don't
Yeah.
accuse my
So the
kids of
reason
lying.
is like you just say like saying it to the kids when they're lying.
Well, no, the like, sorry I didn't have time to do my homework last night because I'm like, cap.
Okay. Okay, mom. What is your favorite Sigma? I mean Gen Z word and why?
I think, well, the only one that comes to mind is skibbity, and I think because you say it all day, every day. Yeah, like that's all I hear.
So Ella,
Skibbity.
tell us, what does skippity mean?
um, I mean Sigma and Skibbity. I don't really know. Like Sigma means good. It means you're like an alpha and you're Sigma. And you're
So
like the
we
top.
had a
You're really
comment
cool.
and
Skibbity is like Skibbity toilet. I don't really know. I don't know what they all mean. You guys all expect me to know what they mean, but like
Well,
we
you
just
say them enough.
we just say them because they're like this
Slang
weird.
word.
They're slang words, and we just don't know what they mean. So it's just fun
okay,
to say.
okay.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay,
Next.
this is a very detailed question, and it's like you're gonna have to think hard. But okay, like think about like your friends, like your closer friends. Like imagine you just opened a zoo with each other. What animals would you put in the zoo, and which one of your friends would run the animal?
We're on the zoo.
No, not run the zoo, run the animal.
Like, who would maintain
Like,
the animals?
yes.
Okay.
Like, if you were to open a zoo and you can't like run
Yeah,
through a
yeah.
zoo like by yourself. Like you need specific people for specific
Mm.
animals to like take care of them. Which people would you choose for which animals?
I would open a bird sanctuary and put my friend Katie in charge of it because she's scared of birds.
She's scared of birds, like petrified. That is a good one. Well, I would actually, because of your lizard skills, and we'll talk about your new baby, I would put you in charge of the lizard section at the zoo. Talk about introduce your new baby.
Okay, so I have a lizard named Queen Padme, and she's a baddie. She's a Sigma. She's the alpha, and she gets spoiled with worms. She's
Ugh.
like this big.
She's huge. We bought her
She's
and she
so
was a tiny, like 5 inches.
probably.
And now she's what? 18 inches?
I don't know. Like I think like 16. I'd
Yeah,
probably.
Ugh.
She's
so
getting
You're gonna have to lock that
chunky.
up when I come to visit.
She's thick.
She's
She's a thick baddie.
Okay. Next
Okay.
question.
If Glory went on a date, what would Keith warn the person she's going on a date with about? And you do the same to Keith.
Like, what did I warn Eric about? I'm sure a lot.
Yeah, you
I
warned
would
everything.
say that
Guys,
be
she
prepared.
really snores when she sleeps.
Well, she does like to open mouth saw logs. We know that. But I would say prepare to wait. Even because my parents, my dad, are like, they're always like, oh, you're doing a podcast? You're doing a podcast? I'm like, yeah, soon. I'm up there. My dad's like, today, your podcast should be called Waiting for Glory.
He's not wrong. He is not wrong. I do take a while. I miraculously get to work on time. I do like a lot of things on time when I have to be, but yeah, getting ready. For Keith, I would say
Careful.
sorry.
I said careful.
Careful. I know. This who's his new boyfriend will listen to this. I would say for Keith, wear your earplugs because Keith gets louder by the drink and yeah, he can be a little on the loud side, which is amazing. It's hilarious, but don't expect a quiet night.
Okay, I can appreciate.
Okay.
And don't expect a night without his diet Pepsi.
That's right.
That's true. Okay.
Better
what's
be
next?
bringing it.
Last one.
If Keith became Glory's boss, what would the first line of work be?
Like, what would I make her do if I was her boss?
Yeah.
I would say transfer all assets and bank account over to me first. I wouldn't mind living in that house, Ella,
He
okay?
wants to trade our houses. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
You come to Canada.
Be prepared for the plumbing.
Oh. Ella's personal shower is broken at the moment, so we're getting it fixed.
Oh, you poor child.
You poor her ensuite is broken. Her shower is dripping and not stopping.
Oh, no. Do you have to make 20 steps instead of 3 for a shower?
Still uses it. It's just a little bit of annoying because it drips, right? Anyway, okay, let's thank Ella. We really appreciate you coming on.
Ella, I love having you on the podcast. I bet you're going to like make us go viral.
You're gonna make
And
us
I
go
think
viral.
this
y'all
will be
gonna
a regular
that.
thing.
We
But
will
next time, I want you to bring like an instrument or sing or like stand up or something.
Okay, done. Okay, say bye to
Hey,
everybody.
thanks for coming,
Hi,
Ella.
guys. See you later on Keith and Glory. We're not sorry.
Tell them to like,
Ella
subscribe,
out.
and download.
Download and subscribe.
Download and subscribe.
Yes. Okay, you're hired. Thank
You're
you everybody
hired.
for listening today.
Thanks, love. Bye, everybody.